began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell you about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google who discovered Africa, you find out that it's one white man that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came, and then he went back, he gave a report, and then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they sat somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake, because they discovered it, they own it, it belonged to them. But that is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them.
Good evening, family, and good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you're connecting from. Family, I'm not in my home yet. Yeah, but I'm here. I'm somewhere, and I ran out of time, but I'm still on my way home. And it's good to be here, and it's good to be with you, family. But before we start anything, I'd love to start with prayer, and then we can go to the business of the day, the weekly recap, and we can recap on the shows that happened, and obviously also our GoFundMe project. As you know, we are still at it again. We are still raising funds, and we have not stopped. This is something that we are really building on, and we'll love you to be part of this big project, the Swahili Nation One Africa offices. So family, join us, and help us to raise these funds, because we really need to raise these funds. We really need to make sure that we achieve this goal of getting our offices set up and working. And it'll be really great if you be part of this and not be left behind. So as I said, this is our GoFundMe page, and I'm also going to just share the page, and then we can start with the business of today. And it's good to be here, and I see I see Mr. Nat is already here, our Minister of Education. But yeah, family, join us. Please go and pledge €5. That's where we are starting. That's where our project is at the moment, and we are trying to raise funds and make sure that we have enough funds to start this offices, rent out our offices for 12 months, set up our studio and our office for Swahili Nation One Africa. And obviously you'll see next year there will be a big change, just like you've seen last year. There was a big change in terms of the direction of Swahili Nation and One Africa. A lot has changed, and a lot is going to change next year. Definitely you're gonna see us in the studio. You're gonna see a different setup. You're gonna start seeing guests coming in. There's a lot that will be pushing in the coming year. So, but this year it's also a year to prepare the soil. We are preparing the soil, we are preparing the movement, and we are preparing for the harvest. We are still planting, we're preparing the soil, we'll be planting, and we'll be obviously harvesting. Next year will be a year of harvest. I mean, a lot will be happening next year. Big things, a lot of people, a lot of collaborations will be coming in. And so yeah, stay tuned, support us, you know. So before we do anything, I'm going to start with prayer. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this night that you've blessed us with. Thank you for being here with us, Lord. Thank you for guiding us. Thank you for this opportunity to share with our brothers and sisters. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen. So yeah, wow, we are live. You know, I'm contemplating, as some of you might see me, I'm still contemplating whether to schedule the live stream for later on, maybe 11 p.m. East African time, or 12 p.m. East African time, which will be maybe 11 p.m. Central African time. Yeah, so I might just reschedule the link or the live stream. We might go live again around 11, either 11 p.m. Central African time or 12 p.m. East African time. I mean midnight, eh? So it'll favor a lot. I know a lot of people in America, or people who are either in China or Australia. It'll be easy for them to connect. But I know for a lot of people who are in Africa will be sleeping, and if we start late, but we can always start late. I mean, not every African is sleeping. Some of us, we are waking, whether it's at night, whether it's daytime, nighttime, we are working, we are busy. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'll see what I can do. I'm still on my way home, and yeah, I'm not sure, but let's see how it goes. I'll be live maybe for 30 minutes, just for the announcements and other things, and then we'll have a proper show later on where we can just really talk about different things, the UN stuff the speeches that are there in the UN. We've seen a lot of leadership coming in and meeting there. So yeah, it'll be great to see a lot of people discussing all these other issues, you know. And another thing, it'll be to talk about what's this, the Africa, our continent, the things that are happening in our continent, the plans that we have for our continent. So that will be really great if we can discuss more of those issues, the latest things that are happening, the trends, developments, the politics, the entertainment. It's Friday, guys. Let's be open to talk about a lot of things. And as you know, if we're gonna start late, yeah, it'll be late for Africans. But you know, we're gonna do one of those long shows where we'll be really talking about different things, different topics. And it's good to see you guys. It's good to see Minister of Education, Mr. Nati himself. Siyabonga, Pastor Yebo. Yeah, Mr. Nati. I see Lusha. Welcome, brother. No, you're in the States, Milwaukee to be exact. Hope you're there, Milwaukee. Yeah, but it's good to see you guys, and it'd be great to see you guys joining us and having this show tonight. I'll see. I'll see. I'll see. We might just continue. But I need to just confirm a couple of things. Friday, Africa late. Yeah, Daddy. For some people, you've got people that sleep around 8 p.m. East African time, So, we've got people that sleep early, and we've got people that, like Mandatezi, that don't sleep, that sleep in patterns. Probably he's sleeping now, and around 11, he'll be up working and walking around the beach and stuff. So, you never know. We never know. But for the guys that sleep early, it's something else for them. So, but yeah, it's good to be here. And what's been happening, family? Well, what have you guys been up to? It'll be great to see you. It'll be great to see you joining us tonight and discussing just different things that have been happening. Yeah, welcome, Regman Music. I see you. I see Lil Shah as well. He's there. And let's see, family. Let's do this. Family, I'm just gonna pause for a few minutes. I just need to give my brother something, and then we'll continue. So, but yeah, it's good to be here, and I don't know, man. What have you guys been up to? Is there something that you've been really doing? Projects, trends. Let's talk. Let's share knowledge, guys. What are the things that we need to be looking out for that can make us money, that can really develop us in terms of skills, knowledge? Please, speak to us. Just hold for me a sec. Just hold for me. I just need to give my brother something.
So the lie began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell us here about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google who discovered Africa, you find out that is one white man that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came, and then he went back, he gave a report, and then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they sat somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake, because they discovered it, they own it, it belonged to them. But that is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Hey, Regman Music. You need to come through, man. We need you to come here. We need to do something. We need to do something. The other time you are contributing, giving us some notes and cards there. So we need you. We need you. We need you. And we're busy with the anthem last week. For some people that missed the show, we were busy with the anthem. It was really something that it was really great last week. I mean, seeing everyone really like contributing, giving us the words. Nati as well, giving us some lyrics they're adding. A lot of people were involved with that anthem. Hopefully, His Excellency Mika will remaster that sound and we'll have like an anthem. We'll go live. When we go live, you'll see the anthem. So, but yeah, it's really. What must I do here? Sorry guys. So for some people they'll be like, "Hey, where are you? Where are you?" No, I'm at my brother's place. Now currently, but I don't want to be in the house because I don't want to disturb them. Had to quickly just come to the car and meet my family, my other big family, so I had to be here. So yeah, that's why I'm here, and I didn't want to lose this. So Regman, most of the time when I'm watching, I'm working at the same time, so that's why I'm unable to come on. Oh, okay. Noted. Hey, Regman Music, how about next week? I don't know what time. It'll be great for you where we can just have you, even if we do like a 30 minutes live together, and you can just give the people what you're doing, your music, whatever, man. And and your channel as well. So it'll be great to see you, and we can discuss a lot of things there. So yeah, family, if you just joined us, this is Swahili Nation, one Africa, one Africa, one Africa, one Africa. Nati, we've seen your face. We've seen your face. For the most people it was first time seeing you, so it was really great seeing your face. And I hope you've got network. I know, Minister Nati, you are forever on the road. You're traveling the continent, different things that you do. I wonder where you at currently, Nati. Are you still in Kenya? Are you in Uganda? Where are you now? And I've just shared the link for those who want to come and join. Let's speak, family. Let's talk about what's been happening, what's new, what are the things that we need to check out, and the things that we need to cover going forward, and suggestions. We also need suggestions. Give us suggestions in terms of the new direction we're taking, our new studio that we're building, the offices that we want to set up. What are the things that you wish that we can have in the wish list, and how you want us to do the live streams, the content, because we're going to start doing more content as well. It will not just be the matter of us coming live and just talking about either African matters or African affairs, but we want to create content that is documentaries. That's something that we'll be also doing. So there's a lot. So suggestions will really, this is the best time to give us suggestions so that when we can do them next year or even later in the year. And it'll help us. It will really help us if we start now getting suggestions, so that when we are planning and we are implementing, then we already know what our people need and what we should be focusing on. Unlike we start something and then you guys give us something different feedback. Oh, Nairobi, Kenya. Yeah. Oh, okay. And how's Nairobi? I'd love to come to Nairobi. Looks like a beautiful city and a vibe. It looks like a really great city. I would love to come to Nairobi, and I will come to Nairobi one of these good days. By God's grace, I will make it to Nairobi as well. And I think Mwendatezi might be in Nairobi, Nati. So you guys maybe should hook up. I'll ask him just to confirm whether he's in Nairobi at the moment or is he back in Mombasa. But yeah, I'd love to come to Nairobi, Nati. And how is it there? How's Nairobi treating you? Is it cold? Is it raining? Is it warm? What's happening in Nairobi? And what's happening in Nairobi? How's life in Nairobi? I'd love to know about Kenya, more about Kenya, family. Nati, maybe you can tell us you've traveled. I'd love to see you. I'd love to talk about Kenya since you're there. And for anybody who lives in Kenya, come, let's talk about Kenya. Let's talk about Uganda. Let's talk about Ethiopia, Addis, any city, and life in general in all of Africa. If you're in the eastern part of Africa, you call yourself, or you're in the Horn, wherever, man, North Africa, Egypt, wherever. Let's talk, man. Let's want to hear about life in your city, life in your country. How is it? And if you live in the States, I see Regmon is in Washington, Tacoma, Washington. Okay, I guess this is Washington State, not Washington, D.C., obviously. Tacoma, Washington. Yeah, I guess this is Washington State. It's not Washington, D.C. Then I don't think it's the capital. But I stand to be corrected. But I assume this is Washington, because there's Washington State and there's Washington D.C. There's a difference. But anyway, we'd love to find out. Hey, a little shy as well. People who live in the U.S. How's life in the U.S.? How's life in your city or in your state? And how do you see life in the U.S. and any inspiration to come to Africa visit, man? Redmond Music, I don't know if you've been to any Africa. You need to come through, guys. You need to come and visit us here in Africa. You need to come and eat ugali. You need to come and eat a lot of things. There's a lot of meats. There's a lot of things here in Africa that people still need to come and enjoy. Oh yeah. Washington State. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. Oh, okay. Yeah, Washington State, Pacific Northwest. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, so how's life there? Music, how's things? Wow, yes, man, you must visit Africa. You must come and invest. And I always say, if you live anywhere else outside the continent and you want to come and invest in Africa, do not come to Africa to do charity work. Come to do business. I always encourage people, the first thing you should be thinking Africa, think investment. Just like when you think the US, you think the UK, you think China, you're thinking money. Think money in Africa. Think about what you can do in Africa. Do not look at Africa from a perspective of I'm going there to help Africans. Come and do business. Come and invest. There's a lot of things to be invested. Some people can become billionaires just by investing in Africa. They don't need to be investing anywhere else, but just in the continent. Imagine if you've got 54 countries, and there's a lot of infrastructure projects that people can invest in, especially coming from other countries outside Africa. Come and invest in the continent. There's a lot that you can really do in this continent. And here, if you do it in Africa, I mean, you'll have an upper hand because you are coming maybe with a stronger currency. You're coming here with an investment. There's a lot where you can dominate in the continent than if you let's say you are going to maybe invest in the US or invest in another country where there's a lot of competition already. But in the continent, you can do a lot. You can start building cities. You can start building apartments. There's a lot that sometimes when I see some African Americans maybe buying chains and stuff, sometimes, especially the ones who are in entertainment, not everyone. I know there's a lot who are investing in the continent or all over the world, but I would really say some of the money that some of the people spend on maybe cars and all these other things, luxurious cars, whether Bentleys, you can buy apartments in Africa, things that will generate more money. And in Africa, another advantage for the most part is some countries, they have some countries in the continent, you pay in advance. For example, in Tanzania, where we want to get our offices, the contract states that we need to at least pay six months in advance. So imagine you guaranteed a money, and I mean, you guaranteed money for the whole year. You already secured that your place that will be booked for the whole year or the 6 months, whatever. You already have guaranteed money for 6 months. You know, that's another advantage when it comes to investing in for example, apartments or housing or any of that. There's a lot. As we all know that even the richest people are investing a lot in properties. That's one of the biggest investment options that you can do. And there's a lot of housing deficits in Africa. You need to come and invest in those things: housing, apartments, power. There's a lot that you can invest in. Food. There's a lot of things that you can invest in. And I've heard some people talk about soul food. There's a market that you can start here in the continent and start building the momentum for. And imagine if you bring an idea that's coming from the US. Yes, sometimes it might be hard for people to adapt to it, but you can start on a small scale and grow it so that people familiarize with the food or the type of business that you're trying to set up here on the continent. So yeah, Regman, man, go anywhere. I mean, invest any country. Even if you don't live in any African country, let's say you settle in Zambia, but have investment. I mean, Zambia and Tanzania, they share a border. You can just drive to Tanzania to go and see your investments. You can drive to Zimbabwe. You can drive to Malawi. You can drive to a lot of countries, and or you can even fly if it's just quick for you, you know, and you can invest in those countries. Come, and I always say come and come, like just like in the Bible, when before the Israelites settled in before they took over, or before they settled in the land of milk and honey, what did they do? They sent spies. They went to look at the land. Come and spy the land. Come and look at what's in there for you, what you can really invest in, what you can really learn and really bring to the table. Come and spy the land. Come and look at the land. Go to any country. Go to Ghana, go to any country and check. In Ghana, there's a deficit of this. I can maybe bring this idea here. Let me see, Tanzania, maybe I can come and do a business, or a ferry business or something. You know, there's a lot that is here. Come and spy, and every country brings different opportunities. So that's the beauty of our continent. But there's other opportunities, you know, that they work everywhere in the world. Properties is one of those businesses that work everywhere in the world. People need a place to stay. People need a place where they can call home. So that's across the world. It's not just an American or where a US thing or another a so-called European idea. It's everywhere. We all need housing. We all need different things. And this is the best continent to start, or the best continent where you can build your base with no pressures. And a lot of laws are still being implemented. Others are still being put in place. So it's a nice place where you can develop and push yourself first there and grow yourself there. So I encourage people to come and invest in this beautiful continent. And I encourage everybody to come and visit any African country for tourism, for leisure. We've got so many things. People shouldn't be going only to Dubai. People should be coming to Africa. There's a lot of beautiful cities that have really beautiful in terms of nature, like beautiful things, natural things, really natural, not artificial, not just buildings for the sake of building nice buildings. No, but there's a lot of variety in terms of Africa. You got cities that are in the coast. There's beautiful cities with nice beaches. I mean, we've got a lot of cities. We've got a lot of even countries that offer a lot in the continent, and every country is different. That's the beauty of coming to Africa and investing in Africa. And, you know, they're all different. So it's just up to you what you like. You can take what you like, remove what you don't like, just like that. So please, I mean, invest. Come and see this beautiful land. Come and see the beautiful islands, the Comoros, the Mauritius, the Madagascars, the man, there's a lot. There's a lot that you can visit. There's Zanzibar's, you know, there's beautiful, beautiful beaches, beautiful places to visit in the continent. The Cape Verdes of the continent. Go and visit those places. Come and see the beautiful woman. If you're a young man, you're still looking in terms of where to settle and stuff, come and see these beautiful places. Come and see this beautiful woman. Come and see these beautiful people. Come and for guys, the woman, the guys, you know, there's everything you need. So as I say, I mean, come. I mean, let's do this. Let's learn one, let's build the bridges, you know. Come and see for yourself. The continent is open for business. The continent is open for visitors. And there's only one continent in the whole world that I know of, people, regardless of their hardships, the challenges that we face, the African people will always smile, regardless of problems, regardless of whatever negative things people might put on us. We still smile, we still wake up, we still work, we still do our things, we still wake up, we still eat, we are still positive and we are still growing. And as I've once said this, that as an African people, we are in a marathon. Some people might laugh at us today and say Africa is poor, but we are coming. Africa is coming. Whether you like it or not, we are coming. You might sprint, you might be number one today, but Africa is coming. Whether the world likes it or not, we are coming. In numbers, 1.4 billion people, we are coming. They might be number one today. They might think they're controlling the world, but Africa is coming. And Africa's time is always here. We are here. It's not that Africa's time is coming when we have tall buildings. Africa's time is now. And we are moving into all the spaces. We are going to fill all the spaces in economics, in science, in business, every part you're going to find us. For those who think it's their time now, it's Africa's time as well. You might have more voices, you might have more resources to say much, but Africa is here and we are building all these platforms. And we are not the only ones. There's a lot. There's a billion people that are coming with different things. So I believe in my continent and I'm very optimistic, and I don't fall under the category of those who say, leave that place, go to the West, go there, go there. Yes, you can go through all the spaces to go do other things. Go establish yourself, your education, everything. I'm not against that. But Africa, there are those who are in the continent. We are working here. Whether you're out of the continent, we are busy with doing something as well. And even if you don't appreciate the development in your country, whenever you visit, something is moving, but you've seen something different in your country, regardless of, you can say, my country has not changed so much, but you've seen a new road, you've seen a new hotel, you've seen something that was not there before. And those things don't define us. As a people, we are still growing and we're still doing a lot of things. And it might not be making news headlines, it might not be everywhere, but we are doing something and we are coming. And there will be no stopping us as an African people. So for those who might be laughing now, it's still a marathon. This life is still a marathon. We are coming. We are coming. Yeah, let me just go to the comment section, man. Let me see. Regman, I'm in South Africa right now. Yeah, you must visit Tanzania as well, man. You need to do a tour. We're gonna do a Swahili Nation One Africa tour. We still need to do Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania as Swahili Nation One Africa. We still need to do we once talked about this last year, but God willing, we should do it. We're gonna do Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't know when, but we're gonna do it somehow, somewhere. We're gonna do it, and a lot of things, man. There's Serengeti. There's a lot, family. So, do not despair. We are still busy. Hey, man, there's a lot of plans on the paper, and we're gonna do all these things. Hey, I see Big is here. Big is in the house. Mr. Diaspora Talk.
There Biggie. You go. How you doing, Israel?
Yeah, all good, Biggie. It's good to see you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, and to all my African brothers and sisters. Blessing and greetings to all of you. Yeah, you started a conversation to get all Africans coming home. Love it. Love it.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. You know, coming home, Biggie, as I'm trying to encourage people, coming home, you might not be there physically, but you can start even a business that you can just buy apartments there in Africa and just chill all over the world, wherever you are. You know, but do something. You can invest anywhere, and you're not restricted to just one country. There's like 54. You've got options. That's the beauty of Africa as well.
And we're the only one that's going to be promoting it, you know, among ourselves. We have a lot of people
Definitely.
on the ground, you know, a lot of people that can tell you specific area, and including this panels and all the discussion that we do is introduction to each other to get to know each other, and that's how we created this family.
Exactly.
Because Africa needs you, because we're the only one that's going to be rebuilding it along with the people, and just looking at the changes that's going, the progress that's been going. I don't know if you guys been following with the United Nations. You know, a lot of the information that's been out there. You know, sometimes I also said I encourage our family to really follow up on what they're saying at the United Nations 77th annual meetings. You'll see a lot of the happening people that are crying for a certain proposition that never be made, promises that have been broken, and everything. So I really, really want us to be very active into following up on some of the information that's being put out there. So again, you know, a lot of them described also how their country is, but it doesn't need to discourage you. But at the same time, go and see it, you know, for yourself, and enjoy Africa. Africa needs her children, and this is the time whenever we got the occasion to visit. Land itself, it is a lot. You give your two senses into certain things out there. You help somebody out there. It's so it's priceless. You know, put it that way.
Definitely, definitely, Biggie.
Yeah, definitely we need to encourage all Africans to go home. You know, because everybody that goes out there spend money on your motherland, mother continent. It makes a whole lot of difference, because the as you know, the foreign currency is getting harder and harder to get into the continent. Just by just visiting and spending our money in there will help grow a portion of the tourism, a portion of your family members. They're all not rich. You know the African situation. Just the fact that they don't even need your money. Just the fact they see you being alive and well, that is priceless. And on top of that, you'll come up with the ideas what you can do to help. There are a lot of people that are not from the city. You know,
Biggie,
people that are. Yeah, can you hear me?
can you hear me, Biggie?
Yeah, I
I
can
think I
hear
had
you. Can you hear
a
me?
disconnect at some point.
Oh, okay. I'm traveling as usual.
Oh.
So
Anyway, family,
maybe my side.
I'm not sure. Can you guys hear? Oops. Oh. Can you hear me now, Biggie?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
Sorry
got you.
about that, Biggie. I don't know what happened. I
Yeah,
somehow got disconnected. I don't know what happened.
yeah. The you know, I got the hotspot on. I think that one interfered on my cellular data. So let me fix it real quick.
Okay. Natty, what are you saying? Big is a law-abiding citizen, Natty. He's been escorted. You know, he's got a convoy of VIPs and VIP protection. You know, so don't mind the
I'm
siren.
back.
Don't mind the siren. Biggie.
Yeah, I'm back
Do you
because I had to shut off. I had to shut off my hotspot because it's been hijacking the cellular data. So we should be okay now.
You good, Biggie, right?
Can you?
Uh,
I can hear you.
Biggie, do you see what Nati says? He says he hears a siren. Says, "Biggie, do not get arrested. You're on the road." LOL.
Oh no, I'm hand free. My eyes is on the road, and especially the area that I'm in. It's a lot of cameras, so believe me, I'm not gonna. I'm in the Maryland side coming to DC, so I'll be careful. As long as you're hand free, I'm not watching. But that's why I cannot read the comment anyway. Until then, I'll let Ezra read the comments. He'll be the eye on the comment section.
Yeah. They say he mustn't get arrested. So they were hearing the police sirens or the ambulance sirens. So I was telling them that they don't know that you've got a VIP protection. It's your entourage. So
my entourage.
they don't know that you are our diplomat. You're a diplomat there in Washington, D.C.
That's right. That's right. Hey, by the way, Ethiopians has the key for DC. When Dr. Abiy came here, the mayor gave him the key for DC. So we have Ethiopian Day in DC. Sometimes in I believe in July or something. Yeah. So you'll find a lot of Ethiopians definitely in Washington D.C.
So as you can hear, guys, so it's our diplomat, our life reporter. Whenever we and Biggie, by the way, thank you for that coverage that you did for the normal movement and also this past few days. Thank you very much for those live streams that you did for us, covering all the issues that have been raised. So that's our diplomat. That's our diplomat, our Swahili Nation, One Africa diplomat. So guys, do not mind the sirens, Nati.
That's the least I can do, you know. I mean, I heard it in the morning, and then I said, you know what, time to go and cover it. You know, again, you know, I think you know, I'm gonna try to get really ready with my my cameras and stuff like that. So because a lot of things happen in DC, it's the nation's capital here, so there are certain coverage we might need to cover. You know, whenever an African country is demonstrating, show support, and have real ground story, because you're not going to see it in media. They don't cover this kind of stuff. And again, there's a lot of things that have been discussed in the UN about transforming about the Security Council and who's running it, you know, basically. So this is an opportunity to voice ourselves when it comes to the blind eye per se, you know, that they didn't see it or hear it, by demonstrating and showing our African brothers and sisters we're still in the struggle. We're gonna fight for whatever that happens to our continent and any nation in the continent. So that's the least I could do, is covering this kind of information. and I'm here in DC, and there's a lot of things that's going to be going on in DC in the coming a few months, and we'll keep you posted because I went back, to the source to the AU issue, and then we come into the UN issue, and by putting that together, I'll be talking about them tomorrow in detail, and a few things that I found very interesting. Um, that's been there, nothing's been done about it, and we'll discuss it tomorrow and Diaspora Talk. But again, I encourage all of you to really look at what's going on out there because that's what's being said is publicly available, and let's do our own investigation.
Uh, I think we lost Biggie there for. I think we lost Biggie, but he's driving. And I know that that might be the case with the network maybe dropping now and then, but he should reconnect. So join Biggie tomorrow, our family, for the diaspora talk. He'll be live, talking about some of the issues with the AU, and the UN. Join him tomorrow on the diaspora talk. 9 p.m. East African time. That's the time to join Biggie. He'll be here tomorrow. It's a Saturday. And just a quick announcement. I think Tenzin, for the African traditions, she'll not be here tomorrow, but the next week, not this Saturday, the other week, she'll be back live. She just has some other commitments. So yeah, please join Biggie tomorrow, 9 p.m. East African time. Just check your time zones because I know we have people from all over the world connecting with us. But yeah, join him tomorrow. He'll be talking about the AU, the UN, all those things, policies, things that have not been handled, or things that have not been achieved as yet. But he'll explain further. Maybe if he reconnects. I know he's driving. Natty, man. What are you saying? Natty? He's caught. No, man, he's using a Bluetooth, He's using, there's Biggie. He's coming back. He's back. Biggie. Can you hear us now? Biggie?
Yeah, I kind of dropped. I don't know. It says something happened to the connection, but I'm good.
Yeah.
No, I was asking.
Yeah.
Where did last I dropped?
Where you were still explaining that about your show, you'll be talking about some things AU and UN things that they have not done, or things that they still need to do, or something like that.
Exactly, because this is a current affairs that's going on, and as much as it is going to be touching the issues about our continent, we got to hear it. We got to follow up with it, and because we can recap it on what they said, but some of the information we need to dissect it diligently and making sure that we participate in these kind of conversations because we don't want to ignore them. Okay, anything that comes from UN, anything that comes from African Union, and decision that's been coming out, is a decision that's going to be really affecting our continent. And if we can hear it ahead of time and being able to really look forward uh, and how we can tackle certain, maybe we might need to come out for demonstration or opposing for what they're doing. I mean, it makes us very proactive on what we need to do. So I say make sure that our family participate and listen to some of this conversation because it affects the continent. That's one thing that I really uh, push on, not to ignore them because of corruption or whatever. But what's being said and what's being planned is already been in the public in those platforms. So keep following up, and any idea, anything that you might think that is possibly affecting Africa, we should discuss about it.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And I saw a lot of foreign ministers and presidents on the UN already talking a lot of things. I think one of the speeches that I that really touched me was, I think, the president of Malawi. Also,
Hmm.
he really, that's some really some of the things that we've really been demanding in terms of the UN Security Council, the membership there, and a lot of things that he touched on that I think um, those things have been really outstanding for a long time. And he also mentioned something to do with, it shouldn't be the case that only those who fund most of the UN programs should be on the on that council, but they should really expand it because there's a lot of people who are not represented all over the world. I mean, you cannot leave 1.4 billion people outside the decision making. A very uh, serious or a very important seating where Africa is not included, you know. And he really, I'll look for the speech. Hopefully, we don't. Just trying to get the speech, you know, like there's a speech, but I hope we don't get. I'll just look for some of the sources where we can check this thing out. That's the speech that I really need to. I'm gonna share it tonight. No matter what, I'm gonna try to get it and share it, even if it's just a snippet of it. But I will try
Hmm.
to get the speech of the Malawian president, what he said on the UN. Um, let me see. I'm still looking for it. Let me just check. I'll share it just now. I think I might have it here. Hey, man, United Nations. Let me see. See if it's on the United Nations website or YouTube channel. Hope they don't strike us.
No,
um,
actually, on the Swahili Nation itself, there's a collection, some of the collection.
yeah. And that's why I'm just trying to look everywhere.
Hmm.
Let me just check. No, skits and shorts. Because I know that's out of the many speeches that I listened to, that was one of the one of those that really touched me. Um, let me see here. And and I wonder, I mean, uh, why are we not applying a lot of pressure in terms of this issue? Because I think we've been really begging so much. I think it's time Africa really takes a stand and say, if we do not reach an agreement by next year, maybe it's time that we need to review the UN, our participation in the UN. Maybe it's time to let go of the UN if we are not really taken serious and our people are not represented, because we cannot, it cannot be the case of 1.4 billion, whether we are not contributing a lot in terms of money, but you still have voices. Because if this is a United Nation structure, I mean, the world over, all the nations coming together, then this is not working for us. We need to get to a place where we need to review our marriage and our commitment to the UN if nothing is done, because we cannot keep on knocking and begging. For how long? I mean, we've been begging, I think, since 2007. This, especially for the UN Security Council seat, or even just I mean, just even to sit on the sidelines of those meetings. I mean, We've begged, they just put us on the sidelines. But I think it's time that we really need to review and speak with one voice as African Union or as African people to say, give us a time frame. What do you want us to do? Whether it's requirements, whether it's prerequisites that you need us to have for us to be part of this thing. Give us those things. Let us fulfill them if we need to fulfill them in order to get that membership. And if there's nothing that you can put on the table to say the reason you're not participating is because of ABC, then maybe we need to review and say, oh, keep then your Security Council. Do not interfere in our matters. Keep your food, your aid, and all that stuff that you've been maybe holding other African countries with. We'll handle our own issues, and we'll handle our own issues as African people and solve them ourselves. Because it looks like we've been begging the UN or begging other nations that are already sitting on those seats, you know. Biggie?
Can you hear me?
Biggie's still driving. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I listened to everything that you said. Maybe my mind might be here and there, but again, you know, our Swahili Nation One Africa, this foundation stands for the people, the voice, and if we keep ignoring whatever that's going on the decision making of the continent, and we'll let them do whatever they do, it's about time we, the citizens of the continent, brings those issues up front and fight them week after week. Bring them until it gets to somebody that is going to make sure that we write the letters. What are you going to do about this proposition? What are you going to be doing about it? This is the participation of the citizen that's going to make the difference. Remember, we are from the bottom up. We're not going to be fighting our leaders. We're going to be fighting whoever that's on top of our leaders. To help them, we voice ourselves. The No More movements, all these things that we're doing, it has to be across the UN, AU, whatever that they promise to do and they don't deliver, we're going to keep them accountable. And every time we bombard them with these letters, now that we have the population of Africa really participating and proactively demanding, it will make a whole lot of difference. It's us that's going to be screaming. The leadership represent their screaming, but the citizens are just listening and time goes by. Few of the citizens do the fighting, but let's join the citizens that's fighting for the best of the continent. That's what I'm asking the family to be participating on these. We know there's corruption, but we cannot turn away because there's corruption. It's up to us to bring that corruption up front and show the world where is this corruption specifically. So every day that goes by until the next session, we should find the lines that we need to stand up together. And we write the letters to the people that are responsible to execute the propositions, things that we promised to change. And if we don't participate, there's going to be another 78 session with nothing happening. So we got to be proactive on whatever those entities. The AU represent African continent, the UN represent the world, and at the same time, we're going to make sure that they link up where we see fit, because African affairs is an African affairs. We don't want them to interfere on that. And we're going to have to voice ourselves together. And whatever that's going on in the United Nations, that means globally, and how we get affected, we should be proactively, as citizens, to be able to write letters, to demand whatever that needs to be done, because we're not a political party. We want to make sure what's best for Africa has been delivered. So we're going to be building our own database. What's been promised, what's there. This is United Nations that's promised it. Here's what the AU promised it. And that's how we're going to be fighting together. If we don't voice it out, I just don't want to be a dusty briefcase. All the proposition stays in the briefcase until next session. I've been saying that even on the AU issues, that you talk about it 4 weeks before the next session, you get ready again. Oh, we did this and that, but I want to see proactive participation of the citizens of Africa and as well abroad. The
think
voice.
we
Can you hear me?
think we've lost you.
Where you lost me? Can you hear me? Ezra, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you, Biggie. I kind of lost you at some point. I don't know what happened to me, but I can hear you now, Biggie. Oh, okay. I think we lost Biggie again. Oh man. Okay. But Biggie was raising a lot of points right there. There's a lot of points that he was raising about us sending petitions, letters, applying the pressure. I mean, I think one of the things he clearly stated that we are not a political party. We are a movement, but we are not a political party. We're not anti so and so. We are not anti UN. We are not anti AU, or we are not anti President Whoa, President X, President whatever. We just want what's best for our people, and as a society, we need to have a voice outside just politics, because I think sometimes we tend to let politicians speak for society, but society needs to speak to for itself. We need to be people that really speak without having to put any type of politics in the forefront of society, where we're not saying a politician should go and represent us, but as a society, we need to come and say, this is where we stand, this is what we believe in, this is what we think things should be done this way and this way. And that's what we are doing. We are not becoming a party. We are not a party. We are not anti anything. We are not anti UN. We just want what's best for Africa and what's best for the African people, or the Black people as a whole in the world. So that's what we're saying, you know. And so I think Biggie really clearly stated this, that we will be sending letters, we will be going for matches if needs be, we'll be we'll use all the avenues that are out there so that our voices are heard. The platforms, will use any platform, all the social networks, we will use them to raise the voices and to reach out to the world and reach out to the right voices, the right people who are in power, to say, this is how we want things to be done, and why has this not been done? If they are leaders, they need to also take responsibility and give feedback in terms of why Africa has not been accepted, why things are not the way they're supposed to be, and our demands, are they being met? Is there something that's being done? We need to know such things. Is there progress? Is there a way that we can speed this process? We need to know such things. We cannot be in the dark for the longest time. Maybe the politicians know something that we don't know, but as a society, we expect to hear something. We expect to hear some form of action plan, or a plan to include African in decision making. Oh, what's this? Oh, yes. I'm still okay. Yeah, I'm still here. I thought I was cut off, but yeah. So that's what we are fighting for. The No More movement. Those are part of all this movements that are trying to raise a voice to say, yes, we hear you. This is our views. This is how we want to see things being done for our people. So please continue raising your voice. We should not suffer in silence. We should not suffer in our corners. We need to have a voice. We need to speak. We need to raise our voice. We need to come with ideas as well. We need to come with solutions. It's not about complaining, but coming up with solutions. we are a people that have all the solutions are within us. We know what we need to do, and we need to come up with those solutions. We need to raise them up. We need to do them. For some people that know, we are in the year of action, and one of those actions that we're doing is getting our own building, building our platforms. And another good news that some people might know of is we have our website under construction. We have our emails under construction. We have our offices under construction, or our project to get our offices under construction. We are busy. Go and pledge €5. And tonight, I mean, I challenge anybody to go and pledge right now €5. We want to get our own offices. We want to have our own place where we can really operate from, not just behind a laptop or behind a phone, or just behind a small desk, but we want to do things properly. We want to do more content in a proper way, in a very professional way. And this is it. This is where we want to start. This is our vision. And if you're doing things just in your desk, that's also good. We're doing it as well. And we're not discouraging anybody, but we have a greater vision. We have a greater task ahead of us. This is what we want to do. So support us. Support us. Okay, Biggie. I see Biggie says he'll be back. Yeah, Biggie, we'll wait for you. I know you're driving. Be safe, and let's talk when you settled, when you are in a good place. We need to hear your points. We need to hear what you were saying earlier, because you didn't finish your point, Biggie. So, but another thing is, I love to share, I mean, with the family. The link is out there. If you want to come and you want us to talk about Africa, what's been happening in the news, the UN, the African speeches from our leaders, our foreign ministers. Yeah, what did you think of the speeches that we've heard from the UN, coming from our presidents, our ministers, and what has been your highlight in terms of those speeches? Who was speaking more sense at the UN General Council Assembly? So we've heard even the president of the US, President Biden, also coming, talking, and there was a lot, man. There was a lot this week. We've had the president of Russia also mobilizing more troops then for the war in the special operation. They call it the special operation in Ukraine. But there's a lot happening all over the world. Hey, Mr. Nati, the Minister of Education, can you educate us today?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yabo, I can hear you.
Who's wrong?
Sharp.
Sharp was there.
Yeah, man. Nati speaking. I can hear you, Nati.
All right. Now, you know, I can be very... Yes, I can hear you. I was eating on my bed, and I said, I was listening to Biggie and some of the things that has been going on. And interestingly, I'm reading this book by Frantz Fanon. I don't know if you can get it on your search engine. You can share it, maybe the cover only. It is, let me type it for you maybe. Frantz Fanon.
Yeah.
It's coming in the chat room, I am sending it.
Okay.
The topic is black skin and white masks.
Boss Ezra, I'm back again.
Yeah, Biggie, we've got a Nati here. He's just joined us.
Nice. I hope.
What's up, Biggie? What's up?
What's up, Natty? It's good to hear from you, man. It's
Good to hear you too. It's been always a pleasure to hear you.
Pleasure is wise, man. Likewise.
Yeah, I've just been listening to the conversation, and good enough. What you have been mentioning here and there, though, is going to be exhaustively discussed tomorrow. Somehow coincides with the book that I'm reading currently by Frantz Fanon, Black Skin and White Masks. And it just hit me that I've been reading this for a while now, and this is not the first time, it's been like a third or fourth time. And the book was written literally in the 1960s, early 60s, if not late 50s. He died, I think, about 61, 62. And he's a psychiatrist, Frantz Fanon, the author, and he tries to give an account of African identity, Black consciousness, collective identity of a Black man from a psychological perspective. And as I hear you saying that we need to raise our voice, we need to let our voice heard. Exactly, there it is. That's the first edition, probably, yes. And when you are saying that our voice needs to be heard and we need to make noise, I'll come about the cover. Just keep it there because it's an interesting analogy that he makes. We are exactly doing what the universal system of oppression is asking us or tuning us to do. We are always reactionaries.
And that's one thing I said, we need to be proactive on every front. We need to be
exactly.
proactive.
Now, how do we really respond to some situations? Because first of all, the system is developed in such a way that Africans and African Americans or people of African descent always react to the system. And in that way, they will keep in check that their oppression system is still alive. But I want to flip the script on us ourselves, that when we are making our voices heard in the UN Security Council or seeking representation in the UN Security Council and in most of the decision-making that's happening within the United Nations, we have skipped a process that is the African Union, for example, in Africa, how effective it is. How effective are we towards one another? How effective are we in reprimanding and tuning our own problems within our jurisdiction, that we have the moral authority to go to New York and say in the headquarters, we want full representations? We are literally a laughing stocks because they know that we cannot agree amongst each other. And giving us a seat in the Security Council or listening to our ideas will not make sense to them because they know that we are not functional within our own jurisdiction. So the system has made us reactionaries, but I think it's about time as Africans and African descent and people of minority to rethink how we react and where our energies is going to. Look at what is going on within the US. Floyd got killed, there was chaos, but nothing has changed the system. Nothing has affected the system, or the system has not affected the people that are on the receiving end. Shots were fired, people were arrested, chaos, loss of property, and things go back to normal. The system was not affected. The same thing when we are talking about gun violence. They don't talk about it, but it has costed more life within the gun violence in the US is more violent than the collective conflicts within Africa. But the media somehow applauds the misery of Africa, but less is talked about their own problems within their land. So what this book is talking, if you look at the picture carefully, there is a black man putting on a white mask. So we are busy, in short, if I could summarize it, these are some of the contents that I want to come up with continuous educative videos, and I've talked about it, and it's coming up soon. A black man is expressing himself with a white mask. That means he's not showing his face, but he is defined from the perspective of a white person. I'm not a racist when I say white person, but given the historical indent that we have experienced, we try to do most of the things the white way. And Frantz Fanon, in one of the chapters, talk about it. For example, language. A French speaker would speak French like a white man, and he is applauded by the family and the neighbors that you speak French like a Frenchman. While the French themselves, when they come across a French speaker, they say you speak like the book. Look at the comparisons. They are busy being themselves, and we are busy being them. So the way we react and let our voices heard, the energy, I feel, should be channeled more into education, creating awareness, and reasonably explain the philosophy of race, identity, the crisis that we are facing as Africans when we define ourselves, irrespective of the rest of the races in the world. This is very important for me, and it is very critical. Otherwise, if we are less informed on reasonable educative awareness, it is well known that we are going to end up emotionally reacting to the things that is happening. And we will be firefighting situations without necessarily solving them grassroots level. So I think it's about time to tear down the system. For example, the AU, in terms of procedures and proceedings, they have copied the UN, they have copied any other working councils out there. Is it applicable to Africans? Is it even contextualized? Is AU or African Union proceeding as African, or is it proceeding as something else? So some of the things that we bring, we adapt. If we don't inform our people and create the awareness, we will be just taking everything as it is. We call it assimilation. We assimilate. We want to be like them. The proceeding, the way they talk, the way they do their things. But as Africans, we have our own deep, consensual way of solving our problems. So I think the AU, the African Union, need to go back to its roots. It needs to redefine itself. It needs to design, it is proceeding the African way, even if it means it takes 10 years to find what exactly and how to proceed. Otherwise, we will be coming together and dispersing, and nothing is done. Interestingly, I will invite people to read this book because let me just mention to you some of the topics chapter by chapter. There are only 8 chapters. Franz Fanon talks on the first chapter on the black man and language. Second chapter, the woman of color and the white man. Third chapter, the man of color and the white woman. There is a big difference in how we relate, even on the level of gender, with the rest of the world. In chapter 4, for example, he talks about the so-called dependency complex of the colonized. Remember, we are not talking about the colonized as in colony and physical landscape. The mental and psychological discourse is highly discussed. Chapter 5 talks about the lived experience of the black man. This is where we all miss the point. We don't talk about our own lived experiences. We talk about what is ought to be or what's supposed to be. And again, being like them. Chapter 6, very interesting, the black man and psychopathology. And psychopathology is a scientific study of mental disorders. And he's referring the black man at some point that we are a black man is mentally disordered, and it cannot be denied because his history has been intervened, his identity has been intervened, and be it individually or collectively, the mental health of a black man compared to that of an unoppressed is completely different. Very interesting to read. Then, of course, in chapter 7, the black man and recognition. This is what we are talking about. And when we talk about being our voices being heard and whatnot, this is what he exactly is talking about. We are so hungry of getting recognition, making ourselves recognized that I'm here, we are here. And yet our purpose in life is more than just showing ourselves that we are here. What can we do? How can we change it? And that's where there is a misplaced priority, because we are busy saying that we are here and we are also humans, but they themselves, they have understood what we are capable of doing, and they are tightening the oppressive policies here and there all the time. One step ahead of us, but we are here getting for recognition. And of course, in the later chapters, he talks about the black man and Adler, the black man and Hegel. These are the philosophical discourses. For example, Hegel is a German philosopher who literally tried to demonstrate philosophically, arguing that a black man is less of a man than a white man. It should pain us, but we don't need to be pained and react badly. Let's dig more reasonable way of curving this systematic academic oppression. And he concludes in the chapter head, in chapter 8, with making some practical suggestions. So it pains me now that we are still on the first level of getting recognition. We are recognized, then what? What do we have? What do we have to offer? How do we recognize each other? Still, painfully, we recognize each other with the perspective that the white man had left us behind. For example, tribalism. the colonial master, when they left, somehow they handed over to a certain ethnic group the power. And those ones felt recognized by the whites, so they need to tighten more to stay in power, and later on even brag that they are the ones who fought for the freedom, not the rest of the people in that specific country. We use the definition that the white person or the white man has written. Look at the 1948. In 1948, the Belgian philosopher, or Placide Temple, is a religious who wrote African philosophy, and we use it as a handbook in defining Bantu philosophy. The book is called Bantu Philosophy. Africa is bigger than Bantu. Different races, different people coexisting, cohabiting together. Borders. As an Ethiopian, for example, the only place so far I have not gone without a visa is Nairobi, Kenya. Otherwise, I may have to apply a visa, and it pains me so much as to why we need to move from one country to the other, which is defined by the colonial masters, and we hold it dearly. The East African community is a very, very interesting merging, and the DRC has joined. But there are some policies here and there that frustrates the very idea of coming together and regional integration, because still we are holding dearly to our own identity and we are scared of one another. If we merge, this country is going to take over. If not, this country is going to take our economy. So how do we react? I'm a teacher, and I believe this generation to be set on fire on some of the historical and systematic oppression that has left us where we are. We don't want our children to learn the harder way when they walk on the streets of Europe and America about themselves and how different they are. Here, yes, we merge. We even call the whiteys Muzungus and all that. But the moment we leave our compound here, we are less of a human elsewhere. And because we have not taught our generation, we have not set them on fire, that the question of colonialism, even though this generation is not born in that era, need to know and be personally angered and respond to the problem, not emotionally, but reasonably, because we are rich in philosophy. So I think, Biggie, I want to suggest really that even tomorrow, as we discuss the the UN and the Security Council and the representation of Africa in the Security Council, we need to discuss also what do we need to do to deserve the recognition. And yes, we are recognized, but in many ways we are crippled economically, mentally. So still, our recognition and having the seat in the Security Council, what impact and practical solution does it bring to the simple Africans on the streets of any township? So this is where I invite us also to look at. I think I've been talking for a while, and I get really carried away when I talk. So please, back to you.
Okay, Nadi. For me, in the nutshell, I would say we're not ready for the Security Council. Why? Because already, if you're gonna go by the term of AU, and a representative from AU or the leader of AU been sitting in the national, in the Security Council, it will make no difference, because we need to clean our house first. Our house has to be together, have the same voice, but not being influenced. because 75% of AU funding comes from the West. So if you're gonna be in the Security Council, you got China, Russia, US, France, that's gonna be pinching you under the table, and you're gonna make a wrong decision for for the whole continent. So our AU has to be 100% independent, because in order to be in the Security Council as the African continent, we got a lot of work to do. One is to square away the funding of AU by Africans. Once we fund it, once we are independent from any other fundings, then we can have our voice. Nobody's going to pinch us. So everybody's talking about, because they give you the narrative, oh yeah, Africa should be represented. That's 1.4 billion people. But who's going to represent me? That's the question. Yes, we want to be in the council. For a figure speech, yes, there is a representation of African Union. But all these other members in the Security Council have the leverage to pinch the African representative, because he depends on different level, depends on those funds to run AU and to keep his job. So our work before the Security Council issue, our work, yes, will be in and out. Different countries are in and out in the Security Council, but they're not permanent members. But again, we're going to ask all the state to be represented, but we cannot afford to have it represented with one leader, because we got a lot of work to do. They gave us the narrative, the appetite to be in the security, but at the same time, they know the continent is not going to agree, because there's a difference. A funded AU by Africans versus an AU funded by the West. So for me, in a nutshell, I would say we're not ready. In a nutshell, because I look at what AU has programmed for 2063. Yeah, maybe it's going to go along with that to even think about in the Security Council, because 2063 will have a lot of things accomplished, but at the rate that we're going, we're not. We're not there yet. So let's establish the right AU first, have everything lined up, and the agreement is that the representation in Security Council, if I'm going to put somebody in the Security Council now, then before the vote comes, all the nation has to vote together, and they cannot pinch him. In that aspect, I can go for that, because the vote will come from each head of state of Africa. Because he cannot vote right there and then, just like any others, because they already got information about it, but it has to get a vote from each head of state. He represents Africa, but not through the AU. He's going to be a person that's going to take every decision to a vote with the head of states before finalizing his answers. But if we're going to use the AU route, where the AU chairman or permanent chairman, whatever that we may call him, and has the channels and the database in order to execute his decision, it has to be worked on. Because they're trying to push the agenda to have an AU chairman or whoever who is the head at the time to be part of this Security Council. It does not work that way. So there are two different scenarios. The scenario that I would support is that, yes, we're going to have a representation of the whole continent as one person that's going to be given the voice based on the strategic discussion by the head of states to say yeah and nay. That I agree. In fact, to do that, we need other database and information system that should be available to the head of states so they can make a sound decision before they vote. Does it make sense, Nati? Did I answer it?
Definitely, yes. And that is, I think, the trend we need to take, in as much as we are really vocal and reactionary towards the oppression and the system of oppression, we need also to be hard on ourselves that how much am I ready to prove myself that I am independent and my leadership somehow incorporates all tribes, the diversity within my country, and how accountable I am. These all are unspoken but very instrumental tools of reacting towards oppression. For example, I know I wanted to use Kenya as an example. I know Kenyan democratization process has a long way to go, yes. However, I am highly respectful to the people of Kenya and the system within Kenya, especially during the last election. Why am I saying this? Good enough, I was here in Nairobi back in 2007 when the post-election violence broke out in Kenya. Lives were lost. People were wounded. People were scarred. People really suffered the outcome of the election with the post-electoral violence. However, this time round, I'm not saying it is perfect. It has its own to-do list. I respected the procedure that was followed, how the justice system analyzed the whole issue. The opponents, respectfully, without inciting anyone, took it to the court and waited for the ruling of the court. And the process somehow made me proud, even as an Ethiopian, and gave me hope that, yes, I'm proudly African and I can claim that pride and share it with the people of Kenya. Still, I'm not 100% praising the system. There are so many things that are in question. But for 1 second, if we look at the electoral process and the post-electoral process, the people of Kenya have said no to violence and decided to forge forward because they never forgot some of the pains that they have gone through. What does this say to the rest of the world who was just waiting to report violence, corruption, civil war? That we Africans can handle our own matters in our own hand. And Kenya has showed it as I talk. I am an Ethiopian. There are so many challenges at the moment that the people of Ethiopia as a country and everyone experiencing. Sometimes it just makes me wonder how independent we are given our rich history fighting back colonialism and saying no to colonial masters. And yet today we look at each other's tribe, each other's ethnic makeup, and push one another. It just makes me sad that collectively we are failing to be led. There is no perfection in leaders, but the art of being led by a leader and becoming a good citizen and respecting one another, respecting each other, diffuses a lot of problem, even if the leadership is fraud. So these are the things that pains me, and we need to discuss about it, that when we talk about independence and recognition, how well do we recognize each other? How am I ready to recognize the neighbor next door and his ethnic makeup and his identity that we share in this collective identity called Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania? I know tribalism is one of the many things that Africa is suffering from, but at the moment, it is probably becoming the main reason as to why we are having a backward progress. So, education is the key. Yes, individually we are all powerful and great people, but if we don't hold hands, we mean nothing. We mean nothing. Even the animal kingdom recognizes that one. Lions hunt together. Hyenas hunt together. They eat the share of their hand. How much more can we achieve as human beings who can sit and think that we are all different, yes, but we share in this collective identity? So we need to demystify this concept of little identities that is creating raft amongst us. If my tribe comes first before my country, and when I'm relating with a Kenyan or a South Sudanese, my country comes first before his, we can never be united. And education should have a way of doing away with these unnecessary identities that we have neither chosen nor were given by someone else. Biggie, I'm sure you'll share with me that. Have you chosen to be who you are, or you just found yourself?
Come back with that question.
Have you chosen to be born of the country and the tribe that you are in?
I believe so.
Have you chosen? No, I don't think we have chosen. Any of us who are born into it and we find ourselves, but I did not choose to be an Ethiopian or a Kenyan or a Tanzanian. It is just automatic.
I don't think I'm talking at the level of ethnicity, but I'm talking about at the level of being African. Okay.
No. I'm talking about identity. We did not choose our identity.
There's another discussion I'm probably going to be, because it's going to be another topic. Okay. In creation, you got pretty much selective systems, right? There are those who live and those that's been pretty much put out. That means there's no dinosaur, there's no nothing like that exists now, right? But when it comes to certain spirituality, when you go on that realm, basically we have a higher knowledge in our spiritual knowledge that it has been dumbed when it comes to living on earth at that time, because things change and everything that you see around you change. It's not as it seems to be. But again, there is this in spirituality, we already chosen our destiny on where we want to be. Okay, but we cannot talk on the level of identifying uniquely to be from this tribe and that tribe. So that's another discussion.
That's what I'm heading to. You know, our identity is something that we have grown into, but we have not chosen it. But destiny has nothing to do with identity. Destiny is a much more purposeful meaningfulness in life. And we decide to come together to build a family.
Okay.
So pretty much we need to work on our education system. We need to teach our younger brothers and sisters. Our brothers and sisters need to sit and reflect on the things that are dragging them backward. We need to demystify the little identities that is blinding us from seeing the bigger picture. We need to celebrate ourselves, yes, but how much more we need to celebrate it when we are together and more diverse. That's why this concept of demystifying the little walls that we have created or that has been created by the colonial masters, we need to break the walls, we need to break the bricks so that Africa at some point becomes a family. We are heading towards the United States of Africa. And that is built on a profound ground if we recognize each other as diverse. Otherwise, we cannot build anything in uniformity. But again, the mindset, the mental health, the mental development of our brothers and sisters and our generation, the new generation, that is becoming more ignorant about academia and discovering the past, we need to work on it.
Nati, you see there?
I'm here.
Hold on 1 second.
I can hear your phone vibrating. So while you are doing your thing, I just want to go through the comment. Independent voice.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm going through the comments. Independent voice is saying the government is fraud. Pretty loaded statement. The people makes up the government, reflecting on the people. It is true. It's a loaded statement in many ways if we come up with the hermeneutics of what fraud is. But of course, democracy ruled by the people, for the people. We all take part in this government that we are led with. I pretty much agree, independent voice. You have said greetings from Colorado. We greet you back. And we extend our regards to the people of Colorado and people of goodwill across Colorado. Deborah Daddy mentioned, why did the African Union lose the anti-Western meditation? Number 2, why has the African Union failed to solve the problems in Africa? And that's exactly the problem and the questions that I raised, and I said, if need be, we need to redefine or tear it and define it the African way. I think the first solution, the first answer that came straight to my mind was that the African Union was busy trying to be the UN in many ways, in terms of proceeding, in terms of discussing African matters. They are discussing African matters and other matters related to Africans the European way. That cannot
the
work.
white
That's
mask.
what I've said.
The white mask.
Yes, I've suggested Frantz Fanon's Black Skin, White Mask. It's a book. We pretty much look our problem from the white perspective, and we want to display non-African identity when we deal with African problems, and that needs to be redefined. And if need be, it needs to be redefined. Messi Bale is giving shouting out love. We greet you back, Messi Bale. Back to you, Biggie.
Yeah. One of the things, Nadi, we need to work on the African legislation. That right there is a boatload. Okay. You mentioned about the successful election that went on into Kenya. We have Ghana. We have Somalia. Okay. What really worked and how it worked and how to make it across Africa. The same electoral votes, because instead of going and having, let's say, what they call it, a joint military exercise, I want to see a joint legal African exercise from the legal stand. What is right, what is wrong, and basically a writing of the African Constitution. And once we get through the legality, and once everybody agree to it, and at the same time, when we go on the progress of each phase, the population is aware of the process. And when it comes to legal matter, okay, I think all Africans can come up and be good lawyers. Okay, you know why I said that? Because Africa experienced so many arguments through ethnic issue, through territorial issue, land issue, and even on the level where they went to court, to the local court or to the Shimagales, you know, the elders, but they had an experience of bringing good arguments. You see what I'm saying? They debated, and a lot of those people are not even educated, but they had the senses. Since these processes takes about, from 1 day to 10, 20 years, they're still in court systems. So even the next generation got exposed to that kind of arguments. So I think we can really write a good constitution of Africa where everybody, we got to start there. If we don't have the legal means of agreement and a constitution to agree, I don't see United Africa going forward. But if we start hunting and have a collaboration among all nations and start writing the constitution, and there's a lot of great constitution out there in Africa that we can bring in, pick and choose what is important, create that constitution, create a legal team that's going to be defending each nations, but through the rule of law that they create, present that we are in the move of uniting Africa, and the laws and constitution has to be in place. He cannot just, we're working, it's 5 years projects, 10 years project, 20 years. No, this is supposed to be a priority one. Okay? When it comes to coup d'etat, and when it comes to the military taking over, and that shows an oppression in general, using your guns to overrule the people's vote, not abiding by a constitution. So once this constitution is written and is there, the laws going to be created, the rules going to be created, so you won't have the opportunity for the corrupt to misguide the people, because that law, since we're saying we're going to solve African issue by Africans, we have to have that continental law. If anybody is doing wrong to his people, according to the laws and to the constitution, can be held accountable. If you got a military that's going to be uprising and take away the democratically elected president, regardless of what he's doing, if you don't follow through the rule and books, then you go to the law that's been established by all Africans. That, where we got to put a law and order to bring citizenship, equal treatment to all, male, female. That's very important. If we don't achieve that, then Africa is going to take a long way before they come and realize, oh, we got a missing constitution. We don't have laws that goes across the continent. So the education, when it comes that I gave you, we have to create leadership in the law. And that law has to be collectively or networked throughout the continent. And everybody will agree, okay, to abide by it. And then we'll have a Supreme Court based on that. That any nation that has issues among nations or internal affairs, that's going to be proceeding to the Supreme Court. So if there's no rule of laws in Constitution, there's no way you're going to lead a continent.
Yeah, I'm Biggie. I feel what you're saying, and it's true for the many reasons that we have the legislature, we have the executive, and we have the judiciary as branch of government, probably in some countries. But again, what I'm critical about is that, yes, we can say that we can do this, we should do this, but look at what is on the ground. Let me be a bit Aristotelian. The practical aspect of the reality that, for example, if you go to any school of law and see what the students are doing is literally cramming what has been written, memorizing it, and executing it. We are not creating a generation that will ask why, how relevant is it now to our situation? Society has moved on, but our rule of law is backward, and we need to review. Everyone is scared because they may have to do a lot of updating. That would be work. They may have to get used to the amendments that are going to happen within the law, and they are too lazy to do that. Or if we push it further, our education system has not allowed us to involve critical thinking and ask why, when, where, and how. So, in other words, they are not capable of reviewing or reconstructing the rule of law that would fit the ever-changing society. And that is what our education system, for the greater length in most of our African countries, is doing us. We are teaching students who will be parroting what they have studied. They are not innovative at all. They don't innovate. They don't create. They don't come up with innovative ideas or findings. Look at the most brainy Africans. Where are they? Where are they working? To who? The question is pretty much obvious. Elsewhere. So how do we expect to review our law and to enforce it and make it appropriated to the needs of the people if our education system has been simply memorizing and duplicating the same notes year in and year out? As a teacher, I can tell you that many of our teachers in our institutions are teachers not because they are passionate, not because they have the urge to educate the new generation. It's simply because they did not have any other option and they were pushed into education. And that's the way to earn their livelihood. And most of the teachers, as I talk, have moved within East Africa and beyond, are hustling a side hustle or business instead of going to school and attending to their students. Most of our teachers are duplicating the same handout year in and year out, the same lesson plan, the same scheme of work, and submitting it for the sake of fulfilling the requirements within the school, but it is never directed to the well-being, development, and critical thinking aspect of the students. And to the point that even some teachers wouldn't want critical students within their class. If you are a critical student and you ask a lot of questions and you put the teacher on the spot, you might even end up being sent away or punished for no reason, be it in terms of your mark or being sent away or subjected to personal hate from the teacher. So our education system, we need really to have people who have that urge, that fire, that this generation needs to take it to the next level. This generation needs to ask why. This generation needs to change our continent. But we don't. We are actually resistant to some of the change. Look at our lawyers, some of them in most courts. I always have given this example. They wear a white weave like their colonial masters. And you just wonder that this African lawyer wearing a blonde hair and a gown in the court of law. And there is nothing about African about him or what he's doing. It's just duplicating what the colonial master has left as a proceeding. Why? Again, Frantz Fanon, in his book, somehow touches it that we associate anything that is white as correct, right, and to be the universal truth. So we need to our education
right,
system.
Yeah, in that when we're talking about color, okay. Now, for example, even if you see your faucet, if you see the red color, what does it mean? It's hot. Automatically. You don't even question it. Even the plumber can switch it. That's when you say, hey, this red is not really working properly, right? Because of the color. They putting us into color system, okay? They've been doing it for centuries. Color after color, color after color. Now we're going to be going and looking at other colors, and they will come with the rainbow colors, okay? These color issues has been pushed throughout, really, Africa, forget it. They even bamboozled those color things. But even globally, they're pushing that. The white wig supposed to be for you to look older because they want to represent the law. They want to interpret the law. That the color to convince those that are looking at them to adhere to their decisions. Those were like, if he was with no white hair on him, you know, you don't even, you know, look at him like a judge or lawyer or whatever, right? It was a color issue. It's a color issue they've been pushing for so many years, okay? So the judiciary system, yes, you know, it has to be revamped. It has to be, you know, you don't have to be looking like a mannequin in order to really be the human that's going to be a judge, a lawyer. You know, you don't have to be identifying color in clothing or anything. But the training that they portrayed is the appearance, the attire that you have to wear in certain area. Like when you go to a wedding, you have to dress up, you know, like you never dressed up before. Or when you go to church, you have to wear certain ways. All these are being influenced through generation. Okay, that can be removed. But one thing that you said, very key word, is people that are teaching because it's a job. You understand? But for me, out of 1.4 billion population, I'll find the very, very few that can be in the leadership where they can infuse the passion, teaching, and the outcome, the result. Because anywhere that you go, when they are young, when you ask them, the kids, they say, "Oh, I want to be a teacher." Okay, these are the one that you want to cultivate to make them teachers of the future. Those that have ever since they were little, that really had the passion for it. It's how we pick. It's how some of them will say, "I want to be a doctor." That's the one that you're gonna pick. Okay, I got a set of doctors, I got a set of nurses, I got a set of mechanics, I got a set of firefighter. We have to recognize at the younger age of what that kids want to be, even though it can change later, but at least the initial passion he has is to be a teacher. But he cannot take that teacher mind and tell him, "Oh, okay, you're doing good in science," and throw you in a science subject. You understand? He can be a teacher in that science, in that field. You understand? It's the other discipline that he can be good at. Okay? But what's happening is these kind of kids that are brilliant, they've been hijacked. They've been harvested from Africa. So before Africa see their fruit, some other country is picking them up and have their fruit within their country. For we Africans, we should develop this mind and make them understand what they represent, what it means. If we lose one doctor, we're losing a doctor that covers 100,000 people. Okay? We have to instill that in their mind to make them aware of their continent. Because nobody wants to live in misery. Everybody wants to get rid of misery and hunger and poverty. It's a human nature. But if we really build these very few before we lose them somewhere else, they become the force to keep the educated African in the country. And these are very, very special teachers. I call them special because they know what it means to lose a teacher. They know what it means to lose a doctor. They know what it means to lose a great mechanic. Maybe that mechanic could be an industrialist where he can have or produce cars or batteries, name it, anything that you need within the car. But we lost them for something else. So we have to really work on keeping our children. And these children should be awarded with all the passion that anybody can award them to. They need to be protected. They need to be supported. So the unity of Africa starts right there. Let's keep our intelligent kids, our intellectuals in Africa. Do not let them go, because it took so many years to develop that brain skill, and now you're losing them for money. That is each nation that has to identify the elite children. We call them special, very special children that we need to harvest for our own Africa. And we can send them across Africa and do the same cross-training and see their continent. Introduce them to collaborate together. Create a network where they can discuss matters. We have a long, and also we're going to start collecting data of any sorts that's going to be for Africa or against Africa. These are the things that we need to start from the bottom. The education system that I wanted to create in 2000 was a remote area where the brain is a sponge. Okay, they're not exposed to internet, they're not exposed to luxury, they're not exposed to anything, but they'll do the best they can with a pencil and if they have a pencil, okay, and that pencil is probably from his older brother, younger brother, it doesn't matter, but he will be in that class walking about five miles to get to that school, and then come back and do his core in the house. He'll be a shepherd. Maybe he's watching the goats. He's going through the farming, and at the same time trying to really educate himself. Very dedicated. And we've known a lot of people that really are dedicated and did their work, and then when they got the opportunity, they're no longer even in their community, let alone to be in the continent. There are a lot of examples. A lot of examples. I don't think they're only from the city side, but from the rural, very sponge brain that grasp processes very differently than the spoiled city boy. This was my understanding that I will have a system that we had before, and this is by going, let's say, like for the example in Ethiopia that came in, when I did that in 2000, it was not there. Everybody goes through 12th grade, but there's a cutoff now at 10th grade. If you don't have the mark, it's like adios. You're not going to make it to the university, so you're going to have to take some vocational class or independent college system in order to achieve your education. Okay.
I mean, the new Minister of Education has gone back to the old system of going up to grade 12, by the way, which we all passed through. So now they have gone back to the old system in Ethiopia, at least as far as I know. That is 10th grade. It's not up to 822, but now 8 and plus 4. So they are going up to grade 12. The system has changed, by the way.
By the way,
so Dr. Brano has changed the education system just to upgrade you on that.
Very nice, very nice. Because you see, still this information is great because a lot of people don't even know, including me. I don't know, but I was very. In fact, when they say 10th grade, okay, I said at 10th, once you graduate 10th grade, I want you to start taking college classes. Everything comes into revision. When you got the 11 and 12, is getting 11 especially is preparing you for 12th grade exam. So why don't you just go straight to the college level? They're not going to miss anything. It's just going to be a little bit hard. You understand?
Yeah.
But we can still separate the one that can handle the classes for the college level, and the rest can go through the conventional 12th grader. At least these smart kids will have that 2 years shortened for the first year of college. That's innovation, because there are a lot of brilliant students that can handle up to second year college.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go 12th grade, he graduate, but we wasted his time for 2 years, so to start a college level 1 instead of being second year college. So we need to harvest our own kids for Africa, for the state. And these brilliant kids supposed to be the future of the country, and they should be educated accordingly. And we keep our children from being harvested or going through the desert across to get to Europe, all the risks they're taking, all that will be eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, you see, Biggie, I pretty much understand your vision that you have, but here is some of my own personal experience that I want to share with you. Again, sticking to the point that most of our educators and even leaders are just playing by the book instead of considering the holistic formation of a human person. What do we mean by holistic formation? When we talk about education, it should be the mind, the body, and the spirit of the person needs to grow. And
Yes.
And this we call it a holistic formation of a human person.
Mm-hmm.
If the equilibrium of having to balance the mind, the body, and the spirit is missing, we will have people who are not balanced, and we cannot claim that they have gone through a school or education system, but they have not been educated. Let me just throw some of the challenges that I faced as a teacher, and the most recent being I was in northern Uganda, and you know that, and
Right.
I was in a school which is really fully functional and slightly privileged than the other schools surrounding us. So I came up with an idea of a community service, and I wanted the O-level students or the ordinary level students to be giving at least an hour or two per week or per 2 weeks in a way of giving back to the school. That means they are doing something for the school other than the normal schedule that the school demands of them. It could be planting flowers, caring for the environment, planting trees, or going down to the farm and taking care of the animals from which we were getting milk and eggs and whatnots in the farm. This is for the smaller ones who are from Form 1 to Form 4. And the senior students, senior 5 and 6, I went around to the villages around our school, and we found a very, very poor, dilapidated schools where students do not have enough teachers. And I talked with the headmasters and mistresses that I wanted to bring the Form 5 and Form 5 and 6. These are the students who are prepared to go to the university, and they are old enough, 18, 19, some of them 20 and 22, given they started school late.
Mm-hmm.
For them to teach the neighboring school children and the poor schools once in a week, to go there and help them with mathematics, English, and any scientific subjects like biology, chemistry, and physics. I was highly disappointed by the very fact that we are from a different schools and we want to give back to the community around our school, that the administration of these dysfunctional schools, who cannot monitor whether the teacher has really taught his subject or not, they are just there shepherding the students, bureaucratized the whole situation of allowing some of our students from coming to these schools to help the other students. And the disappointment did not stop there. Even having an approval from the school where I was to have the students for 1 or 2 hours with a teacher supervising them to go and help other students. It's not only outside of the school, the rest will also help the smaller classes. And it was resisted highly. And it disappointed me that we are inculcating a morality that we are teaching you to be the best. When you become the best, you get the best work, the best salary, you become rich. How about the community? Who cares? Literally, we are creating a generation that cannot stay in an institution where help is rendered for the community. They will be chasing a better salary. They would want to stay in towns, and they wouldn't want to go to clinics and hospitals that are in rural areas. And this value this value was not taught in the schools. So literally, individualism is being taught in our own schools. Even I have been accompanying students on career guidance, and knowing that they are very good in art subjects, they would choose science subjects simply because when they graduate, they will have plenty of work and a better salary. And that's not how to create a generation of educated people. Can you imagine how many damages can be done when these students go out, graduate, and meet a reality that can in no way favor the amount of years they spend in school? It's either way. They can take it, or they will remain bitter and opt into other things. That's why recently, as I talk right now, many professionals have opted to do businesses online and brokery and becoming bartenders and waitresses in big hotels with a degree of law, finance, accounting, and whatnot. So really, we need to redefine and overhaul the system. But unfortunately,
definitely,
if we don't challenge our own system and our own ministers to overhaul it and redefine it, we will still be dealing with unemployment, this, that, the economy is not doing well. How can the economy do well while you have engineers and lawyers as bartenders and people who have relatives and powerful people, and they have gotten their papers with shortcuts here and there, are making a mess out of the infrastructure, the economy, and the entire well-being of the country?
And in that aspect of it, this is what you call garbage in, garbage out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if the education body is not educated enough to even take that suggestion, that tells me, when you guys are going to help the other school to make them better, what happened is you're creating a competition where the other body's student making progress, they're going to say, well, where these guys go to school? That's a human nature. So basically, everybody want to refer to your school. So right there, they're scared of losing their jobs because they're not doing well. That's when they make the impossible for your volunteer work to even exist in their compound. It's a human nature, because in general, what you guys telling them, if I read it, you want to help, but he's telling them you're not doing the job. so
not necessarily, Biggie. Not necessarily.
Not you. Not you. What I'm saying is the perception that they get on the other school.
Of course.
You see? So automatically they will create a chaos. for me, any voluntary, I don't care what kind of school I am, and I have volunteers that comes in from a different part of the school, and they want to tutor my students. Always welcome from my attitude, from my perception, because anything that helps a young kid to progress and to understand the matter of subject that he's studying, we need everybody. You know, even in Africa, we said it's a village that raised a kid, right? And the education should be the same way. It doesn't matter where these kids are coming and helping, but they're here volunteering, performing work. It's work. Every time this kid goes from one school tutoring another kid with no money, that's work. That doesn't pay, but it pays in the long run. These are the type of mentality that we have to develop. It's not a competition. It's not a competition. This is helping other kids that are failing in order to bring them up to the speed of where they're supposed to be. Because it's sad to see a child that's so hungry for education, to learn, but he doesn't have the ability or the understanding, and it only take a little tweak. Like, for example, people, when they see math, they're like, oh, no, I don't want to deal with math, you know. I don't, oh my God, it's a headache, right? But the key thing is nobody's teaching them that math is just reading. Just like you read a book, you're gonna read the equations. They have meanings, and you just read. Don't even try to figure it out, you know. Or maybe I'm gonna get this number. You're confusing yourself. If I give you a book, you're gonna read it. If you're bored, you toss it out, right? Same thing as math. You read it. Physics, you read it. Chemistry, you read it. It's the way you read it that makes it attractive. It's like being illiterate, and you want to read that book, but you don't know how. So somebody has to teach you how to, from the alphabets all the way through the verbs and everything, and how you read it. Math is the same thing. People get scared of it because they have this phobia. It's just some numbers and letters in between. There's this plus and parentheses. All this, they're just looking at it freaking out. Okay, but at the beginning, if you teach them, it's reading. You just read, and that's how you get the information. Nati, you dropped.
Yes, I was out and I'm back now. I'm sorry.
That's all right. But you see what I'm talking about.
Sorry, I just missed your conversation because I dropped out and I had to re-enter the stream. Yeah.
So what I said is, like, people being scared of math, physics, and stuff, anything with numbers, right? And then when you tell them to read, they read. They have no problem reading. The retention is like you retain 20%. Okay, fine. And there's certain statistics, unless you're going to be reciting the whole book. Okay. So when it comes to math, everybody freaks out. And I learned. For me, I was good in math when I was a lot younger. And then at one point, when you start having the parentheses, when you start having the X and Y's, you know, it start, you know, now when they ask me, you know, it's getting difficult. You know what I'm saying? And then I had a teacher that really looked my math scores of last year versus on this year. And I'm not failing, but she sees, you know, even though I was A at that time, I'm going through the B and C's. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And every time she went back to the curriculum of what I have all these years versus the new one. And she said, I know what your problem is. I said, what do you mean? She said, your problem is you stopped reading math. And I looked at her and I said, there's nothing reading about math, right? But really, you're reading it. So she said, okay, read this equation. And I read it. And she said, do you understand it? Oh, yeah. Can you do it? I said, yeah. Then do it. So out of that reading practice, now I have no fear because my fear was caught a lot earlier because I had a teacher that really looked thoroughly on my background. But how many kids gonna get that kind of opportunity? That's my question. Nati, I might drop, keep the conversation because my battery is going down and I'm gonna have to log in on another computer. Okay.
My goodness, I was about to ask you that. I wanted to drop out a bit, but
yeah, just give me a minute so I can switch off.
Okay.
All right. Just hang on.
Let me go through the comments. Probably, anti-globalist says that Dr. Nati makes a celebrity appearance, Lord. Well, I like humorous way of presenting things, but I have not reached that level. And he has put there, doctor. I am not a doctor by all means, please. I have not yet done my PhD. Master has dropped a couple of comments on tribal conflicts. I think it's about time that we need to collectively think about humanity than a specific group, because if each group speaks for himself or herself, then the collective identity is going to be destroyed. But as humanity, everyone needs to wish the other what is good and what is constructive. Everyone needs to abhor wrongdoings against any human person in flesh. We are neither better nor worse simply because we come from a certain group or tribe or country. We are all humans and we have a value to uphold and to build a human person. On a different note, as human beings, even Pan-Africanism, in as much as many people misunderstand it to be non-Western, it is not non-Western, or it is not against a certain targeted group such as white people. It's not. Pan-Africanism as a movement is a discourse whereby anyone, African American, people of African descent, and people of goodwill that believe in the equality and prosperity of a human person, not being subject to where he's from and his racial formation, is a Pan-Africanist. And these are the things that we need to be very aware of. We are not here to really throw hatred or group mentality, but to build collective identity that critically analyzes and builds on what we already have and destroy barriers that will prevent us from seeing one another's heritage and richness. Back to the discussion that we've been having with Biggie is creating a critical generation that is innovative, not parroting the education system that he or she has gone through, and duplicating knowledge. In that way, we will be able to overhaul the system that is built from the perspective of Western mentality. I suggested a book in the beginning, Black Skin, White Masks, by an author called Frantz Fanon. By the way, Frantz Fanon is an author from Martinique. He has written interesting books such as The Wretched of the Earth, is one of my favorite. And I was suggesting to our listeners and viewers to go through it so that to get a better understanding of the psychological formation of a Black person, identity, race philosophy, and self-expression. It is very interesting, and that has led into conversations with regard to the representation of Africans in the UN Security Council. And I've said that for how long are we going to be retaliating and reacting to the things that is misrepresenting us? Why not doing away with our own problem? How united are we as AU, leave alone getting a representation in the United Nations? How do we respect our differences and solve our problems as Africans? How is AU effective within Africa, within our own boundaries, leave alone to consider equal representation and more seats in the UN? What are we going to do with it? So basically, this has been going on, but as a teacher, I've been suggesting, and I will keep on suggesting, that education is the way forward. In order to empower people, we need to allow them to grow holistically, both in body, mind, and spirit. Many people may wonder, what do you mean by body, mind, spirit, for instance? We are in a society where our young generations are insecure about their looks, their bodies. Their physical development is somehow hampered by the society or the social media or by different other factors that they relate with their own physical being wrongly. For instance, I just had a coincidence yesterday in my own office where I was dealing with one presenter who was on a screen. And after we recorded some materials, we were reviewing it, and she said, "Oh my God, I look fat." And I had to ask her, why would you want to say that about yourself? She said, "Yes, that's how I look at myself." I said, "You have a million things to say about yourself, but fat is the word that you can use to describe yourself. All these years you've lived, you are a beautiful woman, powerful, educated." And she somehow felt challenged, but I told her that you need to change this perspective. Who defines beauty? So the body, if we are not at home with our body, even the spiritual world refers to the body as the temple of God, the temple of Allah. If we are not in good terms with our physical being, then psychologically we are up for a disaster, because the way we relate with our physical body with the rest of the world determines how far we contribute to the rest of humanity and how much we receive from the community as well. So education should consider the development of the body. The second one is sexuality. It is a taboo in most African schools to talk about psychosexual development and to learn about reproductive health. Either it's full of laughter or blushing and whatnot, but still we have a fairly young students in school exploring their sexuality. If we don't create a platform where our students are free to inquire, ask, and talk about their sexuality, they cannot relate with the opposite sex and with their colleagues and colleagues of the same sex. So the development of the body in education is very, very important. And nowadays, in most schools, we have counselors. I really struggle in accepting the fact that the counselors also know what they are doing in the schools, because most of the time they end up being disciplinarians than listening to the joys and anguish of their students and their crisis. Counselors need to build side by side with education and co-curricular activity the physical health of their students. That's the body. And I've said the body, the mind, and the spirit. How about the mind? The human person uses the minimum percentage of his mind. Our mind is infinite and is capable of grasping realities that is beyond us. But it is painful for me to realize that in most of our education system, all students are bombarded with the truth or with knowledge that they are expected to reproduce at the end of the semester. They were never consulted what they think, and they were never consulted why 1 + 1 is not 11. They are told this is how it should be and you follow it. And in order to get it right and pass your exam, you have to reproduce. And there is a certain nature of rallying across the year to finish the lesson plan. But the plan of education is missing in addressing the lesson plan. The plan of education is to allow pupils to grasp one or two reality in depth. We don't do that. How do we expect a student to specialize, for example, on the brain while he is taught within 1 year from head to toe all the scientific names and the smallest bodies in the smallest bones in the body, and they have these weird Latin names, and they are expected to cram. They don't have any time to discuss about the functions and the impact and the connected, the bigger reality. So this somehow our education system kills critical thinking, kills innovativeness. Rather, it produces good crammers who reproduce. And after the exam, God knows where that knowledge is, but they have gotten an A. So the mind is a powerful instrument that needs to be taken seriously in the education sector. Our students need to challenge us teachers. Why is it like that? And we need to take it healthily. Otherwise, we will be using the same material for 5 years. If we don't allow our students to challenge us, we will remain stagnant in exploring more options to the education system and working with the time. But I know some teachers are using the notes that they have come up 3-4 years ago. In the process, the mind, instead of being developed for 1 year, is damned to cram for a year. The spiritual growth, the spiritual part of the body. Again, we have the body, the mind. The third is the spiritual. I don't know if you have realized over the years that secularism has eaten up into the African society much stronger than it used to be before. Before, we used to be called that Africans are notoriously religious, and you find that in the discourse of African philosophy in Cesar M. And in most African philosophies, when you talk about, especially if you read Dr. John Mbiti's African Philosophy and Religion, they say that Africans are notoriously religious and spiritual. And they somehow, most philosophers blame that as a hindrance to Africans from reasoning just like the Western world. So doing away with religion is somehow being more rational. However, that's not the reality when it comes to Africa. There is a certain aspect of religiosity into how we relate with one another and with the universe. But because we are losing that, we have been taught interpersonal relationships and how to take care of our mother Earth in a form of climate change. And it comes from the Western, but we had it before. When we say that there is a certain of religiosity that needs to be nurtured, students during their time of academia should be given a time for reflection and prayer, meditation, whatever their religious practice allows them to get in touch with themselves and their creator. Mind you, I have a strong feeling that if we don't relate with our body, with our mind in depth, it would be futile to talk about our creator. And somehow religious teachings help individuals to cultivate that humanity, that despite whatever the case, despite how intelligent one is, despite how successful one is, it is in relation to others. That's what most religions are teaching. And when students get in touch with that reality that it's not all about them, but helping one another, loving one another, loving themselves, they will be able to use whatever they are learning in a more humane way. But if we create students that are overly critical and they have missed the interconnectedness of humanity being religious and spiritual, then the balance, the equilibrium is missing. So the education system should build these three factors. Yes, Vicky, welcome back. Yes, Vicky, welcome back.
Yeah, I'll be listening. I just wanted to let you finish, but on that same thing, same line. How do you define? Because I have something for all of us that defining success of a person. Because there's a key that you said about the spiritual. How do you define success in that And because at the end of the day, education and all that we're getting, plus you put the spirituality to have that holistic success. How do you define it? Because I have
this is
lines, the way I define it.
This is exactly what I'm driving at. I think there is an echo. Is it your side? There is an echo. Is it your side?
Yes, I think my speaker. Hold on. How about now?
Hello? Yes,
Is
it's
it better?
Yes.
Let me know.
Again, when we are talking about success, if you ask our powerful youth, teenagers, what they want to be in their life and how successful they want, they will define to you that they want to study, pass their education, their exams successfully with bigger marks, and get a big job, big car, beautiful husband or wife. There is an echo again. Big things and living lavish and spending and making the paper. But I don't blame them for saying what they are saying, because, as I've said, their education is channeled into making them competitive and getting the bigger marks. It is missing the body, mind, and spirit holistic formation of the students. So their definition is narrowed to about them making it happen. If they go beyond that, they will talk about making their mother live in a mansion or father having a Ferrari, but nothing much about the community or the country. That somehow gets missing. You'll find it in the early stages of school, that I want to make my country proud and I want to be this and that. But over the years, we make our students parrots and competitors, that they miss out on the bigger success, which is helping the community, giving back to the community, and relieving the pain of their community, at least minimally, and solving some of the things that they have observed and they have struggled with when they were a child. It is forgotten over the process. So success needs to be redefined. How do we redefine it? Again, not overnight by giving them lectures on success, but creating channels in the education system where they should be giving back to the community. They should be assessed not only within the school, but what they are doing within their community. Coming up with practical evaluative system on how they spend their summer and other things. And even need be to follow up where they are in mind, body, and spirit. And this is missing. For example, nowadays, if you look at critically the schools when they are advertising that they are going to take the new group of students, listen critically what they are talking about. They will say that, oh, our school is special because we are able to teach Arabic, French, Spanish, and this. Our students, most of them after graduating, 99% are hired. Most of our students, when they finish, they get scholarship in other worlds. You will never hear a school advertising or a college saying most of our students, after finishing or graduating, they are giving back to the community in rural areas. They are digging boreholes. They are giving back to their communities apart from earning good salary and good house. There is a missing link. That's what the definition of success is, highly compromised. So if we are going to parrot the same thing of success, then Yes, education helps us somehow to come out of our misery, and that's how many people see education as the only way out from poverty. But poverty is not individual. For example, it does not make sense for me to live in a mansion in a slum and day in, day out, whenever a bird is landing on the barbed wire and the siren is out, I get heart attack because I feel I'm attacked. So this education system that is creating class, first is creating class within the human body, within the human person. There is a big division within the human person that they want to be successful, but they don't want to give back. They are not secure about their bodies and how they look, so they may have to follow what other wants them to be. Their purpose is defeated. So success needs to be redefined. The second example that I want to give, and this touches our brothers and sisters in diaspora. They are individually successful because they are sending bits and pieces of money to their family, and the brother is buying now a taxi, is driving. The mother has cemented her house and has changed the corrugated iron. So the neighbors will praise how successful they are becoming. And when those who are in diaspora send pictures, they will take pictures on a BMW or Ferrari that is parked in a shopping mall, and they send that to entice others that it's not all about going to school. Also, you have to venture into other countries to be successful. They never talk about the struggles, the inhumane approach, and the unethical treatment of workers in the first world countries. How many of them do talk about people who do not have permits, so they are subjected to be abused by their by the people who are hiring them, because simply they want cash up front, and if it is cash, it is lower than what they get if they are legal residents. Many businesses are exploiting from illegal migrants who are washing the plates and glasses of these luxurious hotels that you see up front on the streets of Paris. So the inhumane approach is never discussed even about among Africans who are being abused elsewhere inhumanely. So success, again, is misunderstood. But we cannot define it and say, okay, we have defined success, let's move on. No. We need to work on the system so that the definition can change. We need to overhaul some chains of events and reasoning that compromises the bigger value of humanity. I think I will end there. By the way, Biggie, I think you should let me go because I have a small commitment.
Right. And I'm going to let you go. Okay. Can you hear me now? Echo?
Yes, I do.
All right. All right. One of the things that I brought up the subject of success, what success means, okay? These are in the general sense, okay? This after the Guru Japal that said it, is that the definition of success is in three parts, okay? This growth, that your growth, your progress, and success. And when it defined the growth is the increasing your materialistic in all ways is your growth. Let's say, for example, if you created a company or you're working for some company and then you grew the company, simple numbers, from 100,000, it becomes to $150,000 the next year, another 200,000 as you can go. But all these is also your growth, also indicate along with a formal education and as well, you know, experiences that you have as an entrepreneur. Then we go to the next is progress. If your growth is aided by ethics, meaning discipline, means honesty, norm, it is called progress. Growth plus ethics is progress. Okay. Now, when you go on the success part, this progress, okay, since you got the two, the growth and your progress together with ethics, this progress must include humanity. You have to have humanity in mind, plus morality and spirituality is called success. So you have to have the three, the first two, growth and your progress. And what defines you to be successful for it is when you include humanity, morality, and spirituality. And that will make you a successful person. That's one thing that I want to throw in a nutshell. And any comment to Nati? I think Nati left. So it was a great talking to Nati. I think Nati just dropped. He had a commitment also. But for those of you that followed us on Swati Nation One Africa, again, family, being really, really happy to see everybody. Marie, BJ, and we have Reggie that joined, and Marie Antoinette, of course, and Messi. You know, I can go on, and I really appreciate your support for Swahili Nation One Africa. Please don't forget to like. I know you're watching, and you might forget to like. While you're watching, just put the like. Like will put us on another algorithm. So please, those of you that's going to listen to this program, to put your likes and make sure that you share the information. We're here to really listen to the voices of Africans of all over the country, all over the world, and trying to create a better Africa, trying to create the unified Africa. There's a lot of work ahead of us, and those of you that are really say, go and revise whatever that discussion was, and on the African, the United Nations, very important dignitaries that were there, expressing the feeling about what's going on in Africa. One needs to be changed. So many information. Hopefully tomorrow you join me on Diaspora Talk at 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time and 9 p.m. Eastern African time. And I'll bring some few discussions that I've seen that are very captivating, and we've been saying those things over and over and over. It's just it seems like it falls in the deaf ear, and we'll discuss about those. And at the same time, please make sure that you share the GoFundMe. And this is a very important mission. We're all in it together. It's ours to keep and to promote a healthy, loving, peaceful Africa. It's very important that we put everything that we can into the contribution for Swahili Nation One Africa office headquarters. And again, this is our responsibility to really put this together. And those of you that contributed, that shared, and that's still sharing and liking the Swahili Nation One Africa moves, I really thank you on behalf of Swahili Nation One Africa. And I'll post what it looks like today. Today we have 4,222 euro raised, and we got a way to go, but we can do this together and make it happen a lot quicker. And I'll share that information and see that to see for yourself where we're at. And there we go. This is what we have. So I'm just going to put it a little short for all of us to share, because Mika's been working hard in putting videos out there, information out there. Please support us, because without you, we have nothing. As family, we have to be standing strong and show that we have a campaign for one Africa. Together, we can make it. And I know for sure my family will support in every aspect of Swahili Nation, One Africa. So anyway, I just want to play just a little refreshing for everybody, which I really like. It's reimagining. It's a short.
So the lie began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell us you about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google who discovered Africa, you find out that is one white man that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came, and then he went back, he gave a report, and then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they sat somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake, because they discovered it, they own it, it belonged to them. But that is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them.
You want to support independent economic movements around the world but don't know how? Welcome to Triangle, an independent social economic network right in the palm of your hands. Check on the progress of the projects you are interested in. Watch live videos of the projects that you either donate to or are interested in. Comment on the project with your friends, or contribute to the project while it is live. Check the hottest business plan submission all around the globe. Get an instant update on new business ideas that are submitted through our unique submission system. Upload content about your own business progress. Start a live video to show the world or pictures of your progress. Get personal with the people that had contributed to your project, and also to the people to whom you have contributed to. Search the globe for all the active projects to see what you might be interested in. Start engaging with the future. Sign up for Triangle.
Again, thank you so much for joining us. Until next week with a new recap show. This is Biggie. I'll pray to the Almighty Xavier for giving us this opportunity to be able to discuss, and I appreciate to Nati that came in and put his voice and put some of touch of love and humanity, spirituality, education, caring for our African continent. I dearly, dearly, dearly appreciate Xavier. for giving us this opportunity. And also, I want you to remember those that are sick, that are really need your healing, your blessing. Marie Antoinette, Kaku, Kuku, Deborah, my brother is Zana, and as well for those that need the prayers and your healings, please go to them and give them all the blessing. And we thank you for giving us today to be able to be speaking about you as our creator, our Xavier. Amen. All right. Everybody that is out there, I wish you a good night, a good evening in some parts, and as well a good morning. Till next week on the recap show, I wish you a very healthy, sweet dream for those that sleep. And for those of you that's in the morning, I'll catch you tomorrow on my Diaspora show. The Diaspora Talk will be at 2 p.m. Washington, D.C. time, and as well 9 p.m. Eastern African time. Till then, it's a wrap.